You have 10 minutes to vacate this property, or I'm calling the authorities. Sarah bellowed, standing on my land like she just stormed a fortress armed with nothing but a clipboard and an ego the size of Texas. I just finished feeding my chickens when I turned to see her, short brunette hair, oversized sunglasses, a teal pantsuit, and the smug posture of someone who'd memorized every rule in a non-existent community handbook. I blinked, half convinced this was a prank. "Ma'am," I said, keeping my tone steady, "this is my land." She stared me down and snapped. "This property falls under the jurisdiction of the Silver Pines Homeowners Association, and you're violating multiple clauses, including Section 12C, aggressive landscaping." I nearly dropped my feed bucket. Aggressive landscaping? I'd seen combat in Fallujah. I didn't move to the rural Midwest, 40 miles from nowhere, to argue with someone who thinks my vegetable garden is a war crime. I bought this land outright, built a self-sufficient cabin with my own hands, and found peace with my chickens, 2 dogs, and the occasional raccoon. The last guy who tried to boss me around got a lesson in humility involving a misfired flare and a very unfortunate tumbleweed. But Sarah, yes, her name was Sarah, was relentless. Leaning against my hand-welded fence, she listed violations like she was reading from a script. My gravel driveway was too confrontational. My rainwater barrels were unsightly. And my chickens were breaching a fictional noise ordinance. I don't even live in a neighborhood. My closest neighbor, Hank, lives a mile away, talks only through CB radio, and once swapped me a jug of homemade cider for a tire. We keep things simple. Sarah, though, had bigger plans. She claimed I was tanking property values and intimidating the community. What community? It's me, some trees, a few deer, and maybe a sketchy camper van 2 counties over. I calmly explained there was no HOA here, never had been. I checked the deeds, picked this land for that exact reason. But she waved a printed PDF in my face, brimming with the confidence of someone who'd once sold out a PDA raffle. "Per this document," she declared, "you're bound by the Silver Pines Expansion Zone bylaws, ratified in 1992. I squinted. "Ma'am, that's got a Pizza Hut logo in the corner." That night, I found a neon yellow eviction notice taped to my tractor, typed in Arial, signed President S. Morton, Silver Pines Authority. It was a Wednesday. I don't usually drink midweek, but I cracked open Hank's cider and patrolled my land in old camo gear, reminding myself I was still in charge. The stars shone bright, my rooster, Rusty, crowed at a stump like it insulted his family, and life felt good despite the madness. But Sarah had crossed a line. This wasn't about neighborly concern. It was a power grab dressed up as community service. The next morning, she returned with backup, 2 women in identical green jackets, clutching clipboards like weapons. They stood at my property line, debating whether my windmill was unauthorized machinery. I sipped coffee on my porch, watching them bicker. "That's a lawn ornament," I yelled. "His name's Gus." It was time to act. I dug out my old sat phone from a lockbox under the floorboards and called my old Special Forces crew, Titan, Blaze, Patch, and Shade. These weren't just buddies, they were brothers forged in chaos. We hadn't reunited since Mosul, but we had a code: when things get wild, call the wild ones. I dialed Titan first. "You kill anyone yet, or you want me to handle it?" he joked. I told him about Sarah. He laughed so hard I thought he'd choke. "A fake HOA? Man, you attract the crazies." I sent coordinates. He'd be here in 2 days. Blaze was already packing. Patch and Shade didn't need convincing. That evening, Sarah posted my property on a local Facebook group. "Silver Pines Guardians," captioning it, "Suspected paramilitary activity. Escalation imminent." The post blew up, shared 500 times in hours. Strangers drove by, snapping photos. One guy shouted, "Keep fighting the man!" and tossed a soda can into my yard. By dawn, my crew was en route, decked in tactical gear, ready to end this nonsense. Sarah wasn't prepared. She'd set up a folding chair across from my driveway, binoculars in hand, like a suburban spy. Then Titan rolled in, his F-350 roaring, an American flag decal spanning the tailgate. Blaze followed in a black SUV that screamed covert ops. Patch and Shade arrived in a van with fake satellite dishes for pure theatrics. Sarah's jaw dropped as they stepped out, boots, camo, earpieces, moving like they could dismantle a tank while reciting movie lines. Titan lit a cigar. Blaze unloaded crates marked surveillance. Patch carried a medkit and, inexplicably, a rubber duck. Shade held a drone controller, staring at Sarah until she stumbled over her chair. I briefed them: fake HOA, possible scammer, threat to my freedom. They didn't flinch. To them, this was a game with chili and open skies as bonuses. Blaze asked, "Subtle or all in?" I glanced at Sarah, pretending to text while watching us. Subtle but terrifying. Operation Silver Takedown began. Titan rigged motion-activated sprinklers to douse trespassers. Patch set up trail cams feeding to a monitor in my cabin. Shade linked it to a server that played circus music when Sarah appeared. Blaze, the PSYOPs master, crafted fake bylaws. All mailboxes must be Robin's Egg blue. No one named Sarah can enforce rules. He printed them on official-looking letterhead and left one in her mailbox stamped Urgent Compliance. We watched via drone as she read it, mouthing Robin's Egg blue, like it was a cipher. Blaze then posted flyers for a community meeting at the town park, promising snacks and HOA reform. Sarah arrived early, clutching a binder thick enough to knock out a bear. Patch, over a PA system, read her fake bylaws in a monotone while playing kazoo versions of patriotic songs. Blaze, posing as a resident, asked, "What's your stance on tactical squirrels?" Sarah stammered. Another guy asked if kites were aerial contraband. The crowd ate it up. She was unraveling. Shade dug deeper, hacking her public posts. Sarah had a history: 4 towns, same scam, fake HOAs, driving out residents with drama. She had a spreadsheet titled Compliance Victories, noting things like shed removed, high risk. We sent the evidence to a land rights law firm, who jumped at the case, especially after seeing drone footage of Sarah inspecting my compost pile like it was a missile silo. The video, posted anonymously as "When the HOA's fake but the crazy's real," went viral. Sarah fought back, distributing flyers calling us doomsday cultists, and claiming my windmill was jamming Pentagon signals. Titan framed one. When the sheriff arrived after her harassment complaint, I grinned. It was my cousin, Deputy Mark. He reviewed her fake documents, sighed, and told her she had no authority. "You know this is illegal, right?" he asked. She ranted about civic duty. He pointed to the road. That night, we celebrated around a fire pit, beers in hand, Rusty perched on Titan's boot. Blaze toasted, "To Sarah, may her clipboard stay blank." We laughed, but Sarah wasn't done. She called Channel 8 News, claiming I ran a militia compound. A reporter and cameraman showed up, asking about paramilitary activity. Blaze, posing as PR, gave them a tour, tiny flags in my garden. Patch claiming the chickens were stealth operatives. Shade on the roof with a weather balloon flashing lights. The reporter looked spooked. The segment aired as Rural Man Says Chickens Are Soldiers, featuring Titan waving at a goose. Sarah escalated, flying a drone over my coop, terrifying Rusty into a bucket. Shade jammed its signal, pulled its footage, hundreds of obsessive photos labeled Suspicious Wheelbarrow, and sent it back blasting polka music. The footage went online captioned, "Sarah's CIA moment." Memes exploded. Her face was photoshopped onto drones. At a town hall, Sarah presented a poster board with blurry photos and a crayon drawing of a grenade-wielding chicken. Hank crashed the meeting, playing CB recordings of Sarah recruiting shed strike teams. The crowd roared. Humiliated, Sarah fled. We threw Liberty Fest. A satire-packed party with 150 guests, food trucks, and a band playing rebel anthems. Patch, in a goat costume, led. Bureaucrat yoga. Sarah watched from afar, binoculars glinting. A county official confirmed no HOA existed, ever. Sarah's final stand, yelling through a megaphone about visual harmony, ended when my chickens swarmed her, one stealing her clipboard. She ran, defeated. Peace returned. The crew built a chicken shed labeled, "No Sarahs." Shade installed a sign, "Protected by SAS, satellites, and roosters." But days later, he showed me drone footage, Sarah in a diner, passing a folder labeled Phase 2 to a suited man. Sarah's next move was slicker. A pink pamphlet appeared on my truck, proposing community unity, rules, matching lawns, bandanas for chickens. She'd hired teens to distribute them, pitching order to lonely locals. We countered, bribing the kids with snacks and fake conspiracy zines. Shade tracked her, noting her quieter, smarter approach. She wasn't an HOA now, just a wellness collective. We planned Liberty Fest 2. Bigger, bolder, with 250 attendees, a stage, and Sheriff Mark as a guest. Blaze ran a lawn freedom contest. Patch built Sarah-proof garden beds. Rusty strutted in a tiny vest. Sarah arrived, offering a muffin basket, asking to join. I let her, warning, "No clipboards." She sat quietly, but Shade whispered, "She's scheming." He was right. Sarah sued us for harassment and poultry-induced trauma. Our lawyer laughed it off. The case was tossed. The county charged Sarah with fraud and trespassing. She paid fines, did community service, and took a property law class. The saga ended, but footage from our pranks became a streaming docuseries pitch. The producer asked for a reenactment. I demanded a trailer for Rusty. What do you think? Was our prank war justified, or did we go too far? Should you fight petty tyrants with humor or law? Share your thoughts below. Let's debate how far you'd go to protect your freedom.